Hello, my friends. Today I'm going to show you, with the help of my kitten assistant, how to do a biome reader. This is a biome reader. They are organized by colors, just like our rainbow boxes, which means that red is the simplest one. It will have the shortest words that are the easiest to sound out, and then orange, and then yellow, and then green, and so on. And what's really neat is that you can do a research just from the information that is in here. So if you're getting started reading and some of the big books that have a lot of facts about animals are a bit much for you, you could do a research using just this. The first step of this work is to find the little booklet and read it. Please be aware that the little booklet is just paper. It's not laminated. So if you get fidgety and start bending it, it will leave permanent marks in it, and then when the next person gets it, they will see those permanent marks, and the material won't be so nice for them. So try and keep it nice for the next person. This book says Numbats and Wombats. If you can, please try to read this work out loud to someone. It could be a sibling, it could be a parent. If you can't all the time, just read it out loud to yourself, but practice reading these words out loud. Wombats and numbats live in the temperate forests of Australia. The way these work is there is a red section for Australia and an orange for Australia and so on, but then there's another red one for North America and another red one for South America and so on through all the continents, even Antarctica. So you can study different creatures that live in different continents depending on what box you have. This one goes for Australia. We're going to keep reading. A wombat is fat. A numbat is not. A numbat eats bugs. A wombat will not. A wombat eats buds, like baby plants. A numbat will not. A numbat lives in a log. A wombat lives in a den. A numbat gets up as the sun gets up. A wombat gets up as the sun sets. That's the end. This book was about two different creatures, and it was kind of comparing and contrasting them. It was saying what things are the same in their lives and what things are different. Some books will be about two creatures, and some books will just be about one. After you've read the book, the next step is to try your best to organize these word cards in order that the book went. If you need to, there are numbers on the back, but try your best to do it without, because more important than getting it in the right order is practicing your memory. So let's think about this book. I remember that the first page had the word Australia on it. Let's spread them out. See, wombats and numbats live in the temperate forest of Australia. That was definitely the first one. Okay. Let's see. I don't remember what it said second, but I do remember that the very last one was about where they live, I think. So let's put that one at the end. And then I'm really struggling. It sounds like I didn't pay quite enough attention while I was reading. Maybe I was focusing really hard on sounding out those words. I'm going to read it again. Wombats and numbats live in the temperate forest of Australia. Okay, I got that part right. Now, I could read them and move them at the same time, and if I'm really struggling, I might do that, but I'm going to try to use my memory. So this time, I'm going to look really carefully and try and hold the order in my brain as I read. A wombat is fat, a numbat is not. A numbat eats bugs, a wombat will not. So it was the size of their body and then what they eat. A wombat eats buds, a numbat will not. So size of the body, what they eat again. A numbat lives in a log, a wombat lives in a den. Okay, so size of their body, what they eat, where they live. A numbat gets up as the sun gets up. A wombat gets up as the sun sets. Ooh, good thing I checked because I was wrong. All right, so it goes the Australia one I already placed, and then their bodies, what they eat, where they live, when they're awake. Now I think I can do it. All right, Australia, the size of their bodies. A wombat is fat, a numbat is not. What they eat, and I remember that bugs came before buds. Although here it looks like I have two that say bugs. Someone must have mixed up this set. I'll have to fix it before we send it. Let's pretend this one is the buds one. And then there was where they live. A numbat lives in a log and a wombat lives in a den. And then when they're active. A numbat gets up as the sun gets up. A wombat gets up as the sun sets. If you wanted to practice your cursive or your print, whatever it is that you're working on, you might choose to copy one of these sentences down and draw a picture. The next step is our pictures, and this is some serious detective work because these pictures don't always make it really clear what they're about. We're going to make a book that has a page with words and a page with pictures that goes with it. And again, if you feel like you need to check at the end, they have the numbers on the back that show the order. But if you check at the beginning, you're not actually doing any work, and you're not challenging your brain, and you're not growing your brain. So only use those for checking when you really need to. All right, let's look. Oh, look at this one. It has some sun and some darkness. I know that is definitely what goes with this card. A numbat gets up as the sun gets up, so they're active in the day. And a wombat gets up as the sun sets. They're active at night, like nocturnal. Okay. Well, oh look, here's a picture of something eating from an anthill. Sounds like bugs to me. A numbat eats bugs. Okay. And then, oh look, there's that little chubby wombat, and he looks like he's eating a small plant. So that would go with the card that's missing right now. All right. What's next? This one looks like it's all together in one picture instead of saying one does this and one does this. And it looks like it shows the whole habitat. So I think that's going to be the first one. Wombats and numbats live in the temperate forest of Australia. Let's see, I see the wombat, I see the numbat, and that looks like a temperate forest, so let's use that one. Okay, and then we have just pictures of them, and this one we have pictures of them in their homes. This one says a numbat lives in a log, a wombat lives in a den. This is them in their homes. Which leaves this one going for a wombat is fat, a numbat is not. And yeah, it looks like the wombat is adorably chubby and the numbat is more skinny. Until I did this work the first time, I had never even heard of a numbat. That might happen for you when you're doing this work too. Maybe when you're done, you really want to go learn more about that animal, and you could find one of our online animal encyclopedias to use to look it up. When you've done this, if you feel the need to check your numbers, you can. And then you should stack this material back up and put it away. When you put it away, please make sure that you put it mixed up. So don't put it first, second, third, fourth in a stack. Otherwise, the next person won't have a challenge. Just kind of mix it up like this. Remember that the final step of any work is always putting it away in the way that you got it, so it's ready for the next person. The next person might be you if you choose to give the work out a second time, or it might be you sending it back to school for me to send it to a new person. So you'll put all these little materials nicely back in the envelope. Now, if you wanted to write a report using this information and you were just getting started, it would be okay if you wanted to copy these words. But once you have a little more experience, as soon as you feel ready, try to make your own sentences. Let's look at this one. A numbat gets up as the sun gets up. I could also say, a numbat is active in the day. Or I could write, numbats are awake during the day. Or I could write, numbats come out of their logs in the morning. all of those would be different sentences that I could get that would be true, and they would use the information that I learned from the cards. Did you notice how I combined two of them? I combined a numbat lives in a log with a numbat gets up as the sun gets up, and I made that into a sentence together. I said a numbat gets out of its log in the morning or when the sun comes out. If you need help figuring out different ways to say something, a really good technique can be to cover it up and draw yourself the picture instead. Okay, let's look at the picture and ask yourself, what is this picture showing me? Oh, it's showing me a picture of a numbat eating ants or bugs. So I could say numbats eat bugs. Or I could say one of the things a numbat eats is bugs. If you look carefully at the picture, you can even see them sticking their tongue out. I wonder if they're one of those animals with a big long tongue that they stick down into the bug nest and pull them out that way. You might have to look into it a little bit more to find that out. Anyway, this is a biome reader. Make sure when you have them at your house that you go through it at least once. If you find that reading it is quite easy for you, then once is probably enough, and that might be a perfect one to turn into a report because those words are not as much of a challenge for you. If you find one that is really stretching the edge of what you feel like you can read right now, try and do it a couple times. The more you practice, the more your brain will remember those words and the easier it'll get. And if you get one that is just so much not where you're at yet that it's way too hard and it's just not going to happen, maybe ask someone else to read it to you and then leave me a little note that says, Katie, the greens are too hard. I'm not ready for this yet. And I'll make sure to not send you any more of those for at least a couple months until you feel ready. All right, that's a biome reader. This is a wonderful work to do for language or science or just because. Have a good day. I'll see you around. Do good work.